Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah Olson if you are new here, and I live in Minnesota with my husband and our 3 young children, ages 7.5, 5.5, and 2. And I stay at home with the kids and we homeschool. So here on my channel I share about all things motherhood, homemaking, and homeschooling. Now this is the season where a lot of moms are planning ahead for their next homeschool year, and maybe you've already purchased all of your curriculum, maybe you're not sure what your plans are for next fall, and you feel like there's just so much to buy and so much to plan and prep for when it comes to schooling your children at home. But my hope is that today's video will bring you some encouragement that you don't need to have a super elaborate setup to homeschool your kids and to give them a wonderful education. So in today's video, I'm sharing with you items that I would recommend for a more minimal homeschool setup. So these are all things that are tried and true for our family. We've been homeschooling for quite some time now, even though our oldest is 7.5. We did 2 years of preschool, then a year of pre-K, then kindergarten, and now she's wrapping up 1st grade. So I would say we've had a lot of years of experience just in terms of buying all the things, trying out different strategies, and finally settling into what works well for our family and our lifestyle. Because of my husband's job, we live in 2 locations every year. For half of the year, we are in a rental house, which is where I am sitting currently, and for the latter half of the year, we are back at home in our house 2 hours away. And so we definitely have to keep things more minimal for homeschooling to work well for us. So my first encouragement for you is that you do not need a dedicated homeschool room. We do the majority of our schooling around the kitchen table and then here in the living room on the couch. It is so fun, I know, to hop on Pinterest and scroll through all those ideas and photos of gorgeous school rooms in people's homes. And if you can afford that, like in terms of your space in your home, then I'd say go for it. But you can definitely just do school around your common spaces in your home, in the main living areas of your home, and that will work just fine. A quick note that I forgot to mention is I recently got Invisalign, and so you might be noticing a lisp or like my voice sounds a little bit different. I'm still learning how to speak with these liner trays in, so please bear with me as we continue to try to enunciate well here. All right, let's jump into these items I would recommend for a more minimal homeschool setup. The first one is a tray, and you can treat it like a desk. Actually, let me go get ours. Okay, I got our tray. This is one of our trays. We just have one here at the rental house. It is technically, I believe, a breakfast tray. Like a tray you would hypothetically have breakfast in bed on. It is not actually dry erase, although it looks like it, but this is what the tray looks like when the legs are folded down. It is the perfect height, we've discovered, for a child, even our 1st grader, to sit underneath, and this we just prop up on the floor when I am having a child do independent work time in the living room or something like that, and I'm working at the kitchen table with the other child. But those trays are wonderful. We just refer to them as our desk or desks, and we fold them up. I love that they have legs that fold up and you can tuck them away into some corner of the living room or by the couch or something so that they are out of the way during the day. So you don't even need a dedicated desk for each child. This next item I would recommend in a more minimal homeschool setup is called a Rec and Rec, and I'm hesitant to call it the same as an abacus because I'm not educated on using abacuses a lot, but this is similar. This one has 20 beads on it. We've got a row of 10 and another row of 10, and each little group of 5 is another different color, which is so helpful for kids in terms of representing and understanding numbers. Sophie loves to use this for addition and subtraction, and I've worked with Soren on representing numbers. I've even worked with Svea, our 2-year-old, on just having fun counting beads, just for fun. And it is so wonderful because it's portable, it's pretty sturdy. We have had to tape ours because I think someone stepped on it, but they are still really sturdy. They're also really cheap. I think they're between $8 and $9. So I will link this and anything else I mention down below for you today. But this Rec and Rec has been wonderful for us in our math journey over the years, and I highly recommend having one in your minimal homeschool setup. The next thing I'd recommend is having just a couple bins. Just like one bin per child usually works in these younger elementary years, and that's where I stash all of our curriculum. Here at the rental house, I've got our bins actually on the floor in a corner of the dining room where people don't walk through, and that has worked just fine. We have a cupboard back at home at our house where I put the same bins, and it just works so well to have one bin per child, because then either they can pull out their bin to access their math workbook or something, or you can pull it out too. That's where I keep my teacher guides as well for each child. So the math that Sophie's going through, the level that she's in, I have my teacher guide in Sophie's bin, so it's all ready to grab and go. I wouldn't say you need tons and tons of bins unless you're really into organizing and you want everything to have its own little container. That's great, but honestly, all you need sometimes are a couple, you need to pare things down, I would recommend, and then have a couple drawers that are empty or little spaces in a cupboard somewhere, even in an entertainment center or something in your living room, and then you have everything you need. You don't need to buy all of the bins and all of the organizational supplies. The next thing I would recommend for sure is an art cart. We call ours an art cart. It's just a metal 3-tiered cart that holds all of our art supplies, and that comes with us here to the rental house when we move here for 5 months, and then it comes with us home, of course, as well. We do have Play-Doh supplies and watercolor supplies on the bottom layers or levels of that cart, and then on the top is where we have crayons, colored pencils, tape, scissors, and our actual pencils for school. It's wonderful having a one-stop shop for everything people would need. Ours is on wheels, but we actually don't wheel it around because I don't want it to tip over and crash, which has happened before, and that makes for more cleanup. So we keep ours tucked away in kind of a corner where we're not often walking through. The next thing I'd recommend is a timer. Now, we love visual timers in our family. Our older 2 kids use them for their daily quiet time every day. They have visual timers that go up to 2 hours, which is the time we've worked our way up to for quiet time. We also have visual timers that go up through 60 minutes, but you can utilize timers in a lot of ways in your homeschool. Having visual timers helps your child, especially a younger child, to picture or understand how much time is truly left, and that can be a big help in your homeschool. So I would definitely recommend picking up a visual timer. The next thing I'd recommend for this homeschool setup is those special handwriting pages that have the sky and the ground on them. The sky is often blue, like a blue line on the top, and then the bottom line is usually green, and sometimes there's a little flower drawn on it. I will link the handwriting paper that we have. We absolutely love it. It has helped our kids so much this year to improve in their handwriting, which was one of my goals for school for both of our older kids. On a side note, or kind of related to this, I would recommend not overlooking copy work. I overlooked it for a long time, not thinking that it was all that important. But this school year, especially the latter half of the school year, we've been focusing more on copy work in our family, and I think these handwriting pages have really helped. But there are a couple different styles of them and a couple different levels for different grade levels based on how tall the lines are and how much spacing they give. And I actually do use different levels for Soren versus Sophie. Soren's in pre-K, Sophie is wrapping up first grade, and some of those pages we also have a space for a picture at the top, which is super fun, and Sophie's got that and Soren's got that in his level. And then I also have pages that are just plain lines, like just for handwriting, no room for pictures, and they have just been wonderful. So I will link all of those different levels and pages down below, because those are a wonderful part of a more minimal homeschool setup. Another thing I would recommend is Unifix cubes, or little connecting cubes. Those are a great and easy math manipulative to have on hand. I keep ours in a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, nothing fancy. I do keep them tucked away because otherwise the 2-year-old will be playing with them and losing them all over the house. I do let her play with them during school time a lot of times, but we keep them tucked away for school time. I call them Unifix cubes because I think that was the brand that I had when I was a student teacher and an elementary teacher, but there are a lot of different brands out there of these plastic connecting cubes. They're a great manipulative. You can make 10 sticks out of them, sticks of 10 cubes together to count by tens, stuff like that, or your child can use them for addition and subtraction. They're just a really good thing to have on hand. And I love all the cute little manipulative like toys, little ones that are dogs or bears and stuff, and they're so cute, but you don't have to get all of those things. The cubes work just fine. Something else that's super great in your homeschool that I think sometimes gets underestimated is just plain having flashcards around. We've got addition and subtraction flashcards that came with our Christian Light education, math. We also have other flashcards for math that we have on hand. And then we also have alphabet flashcards that I've made just by typing out letters or finding something free online where you can just print them off and get those laminated. They are a great part of any homeschool setup, and I would recommend using flashcards in your homeschool time. The next item I would recommend is a laminator. I will link ours down below. We have a small, well, medium kind of laminator, and the laminating pages you can buy on Amazon. They're not too expensive, especially if you don't plan on laminating every single piece of paper you own, and you can get a big pack of like 100 of those laminating pouches. They are wonderful. I love laminating things. I don't do it all the time, but when I'm setting up a new game or getting new flashcards or something printed out that I want to utilize again and again, I definitely run things through our little laminator. The one we have has worked wonderfully for us for years. The next item I want to recommend to you is going to sound funny, but it's actually kind of a lifesaver. We have this brand of cups. I think it's called like Puj. It's P-U-J, and I will link those down below too. We have a set of cups that actually attaches to the fridge with these little hooks, and the hooks themselves actually just stick out. They don't hook up, and so they're very easy for kids to push the cup on to hang it on your fridge or the side of a cupboard or something, and then to pull them off. If you have kids who are old enough to fill up their own water when they need a quick drink, that saves you so much time and just keeps your homeschool day moving along smoothly when you don't have to interrupt a lesson to go get a cup of water for someone who is doing independent work. Of course, things like water bottles are great, but just in our everyday life, we love having cups available for our kids hanging on the side of the fridge, and then they can fill them up either with our water dispenser that we have here at the rental house, or our fridge back at home has the actual water dispenser built into the fridge. But I love that brand of cup so much. They are so wonderful, and so I just had to mention that here because it will make a huge difference for you, I think, in your homeschool journey if you're not constantly getting up to get people glasses of water, and if they are old enough to do that themselves, it'll just make things go so much more smoothly. The final item I want to recommend is a Yodo player. A Yodo player is an easy way to do audiobooks and audio content. It lets the kids be more autonomous with it and independent because they can place the little story cards in the top and they can select stories, but they can select stories that you have already purchased for them, and then they're not searching for things to listen to on an iPad or a tablet, and then you aren't also forced to use your phone to send something over to their room like on a Bluetooth speaker or something. It just gives everyone their own autonomy. I love our Yodo players. Our kids love them even more. My husband and I were just talking recently with friends about how much of a great investment our Yodo players were for our kids. Our two oldest kids, ages 7 and 5, have their own mini Yodo players. We've never felt the need to have a full-sized large Yodo player. We've done just great. We've been so satisfied with just using the mini size over the years, and the Yodo player is such a wonderful way for your kids to, again, get that audio content, listen to audiobooks, even classic stories like Treasure Island, and then there's things like Charlotte's Web, and you can get your own audiobooks put onto make your own cards. So we've got things like My Father's Dragon, we've got Mr. Popper's Penguins, and there of course are also like princess and Disney stories and Paw Patrol cards available, but we love especially leaning towards that more classic literature. Now at this stage that our kids are in, we don't tend to use our Yodo players during school time, but I would say that as our kids get older, we might even implement them during school time even more. The Yodo players have a great headphone jack, and our kids have wired headphones they can listen to their Yodo players with, but what I just wanted to recommend in general is you're creating an atmosphere and a love for lifelong learning in your family as a homeschool family, and you can utilize yodel players all day long. We don't listen to them all day long, but I mean any time of the day your child can be learning something new and just increasing their background knowledge, and their vocabulary will just soar listening to so many stories and even some good music too. So I just had to mention the yodel player here because it is such a wonderful part of our family's everyday life, our family culture. Our kids have learned so much and have gleaned so much knowledge and new vocabulary words, and just so many awesome benefits from having the yodel players in our household. And you don't need to have a lot to have a yodel player. You've got the player itself. You've got as many cards as you want to buy. You can keep them in a binder or a little credit card case, and then you are all set for some great learning. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope it was helpful for you to hear some of my best tried and true recommendations for a more minimal homeschool setup. And sometimes I forget things, so I feel like I have to say this. If I remember anything after I have edited this video, I will link it down below if there's anything else that is helpful to us in our homeschool setup. Of course, we have a lot of other little bits and pieces and curriculum I'd love to recommend. Pretty soon, or before too long, I hope to share our curriculum picks for next school year for when Sophie's in 2nd grade, Soren is in kindergarten next year, and Svea will be 3. Well, 3 next March, so she'll be a busy 2.5-year-old next school year. And hopefully I'll get that video filmed and up, those videos filmed and up pretty soon here. Also, I would love to hear what you would consider to be an essential item in a more minimal homeschool setup. I know we can all learn from each other, and it would really help other moms too to hear others' recommendations. So please leave that down below in the comments if you have something else that you would totally recommend that I did not mention today. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'd be so honored if you would choose to stick around and hit that subscribe button. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you're at, and I'll see you in my next one.
Yesterday